All's Well That Ends Well. Act 1, Scene 3. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare. Act 1, Scene 3. The Countess, read by Elizabeth Klett.
Helena, read by Arielle Lipshaw.
Even so it was with me when I was young. If ever we are nature's, these are ours. This thorn doth to our rose of youth rightly belong. Our blood to us, this to our blood is born. It is the show and seal of nature's truth, where love's strong passion is impressed in youth. By our remembrances of days foregone, such were our faults, or then we thought them none. Her eye is sick on't. I observe her now.
What is your pleasure, madam?
You know, Helen, I am a mother to you.
Mine honourable mistress.
Nay, a mother. Why not a mother? When I said a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother that you start at it? I say I am your mother, and put you in the catalogue of those that were enwombed mine. 'Tis often seen adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds a native slip to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan, yet I express to you a mother's care. God's mercy, maiden! Does it curd thy blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter that this distempered messenger of wet, the many-coloured iris, rounds thine eye? Why? That you are my daughter?
That I am not.
I say I am your mother.
Pardon, madam. The Count Rousillon cannot be my brother. I am from humble, he from honoured name. No note upon my parents, his all noble. My master, my dear lord he is, and I his servant live, and will his vassal die. He must not be my brother.
Nor I your mother?
You are my mother, madam, would you were, so that my lord your son were not my brother. Indeed, my mother, or were you both our mothers, I care no more for than I do for heaven, so I were not his sister. Can't no other but I your daughter, he must be my brother?
Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. God shield you mean it not. Daughter and mother so strive upon your pulse. What, pale again? My fear hath catched your fondness. Now I see the mystery of your loneliness, and find your salt tears' head. Now to all sense 'tis gross. You love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion to say thou dost not. Therefore tell me true. But tell me then 'tis so. For look, thy cheeks confess it, the one to the other, and thine eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviours that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy tie thy tongue, that truth should be suspected. Speak, is't so? If it be so, you have wound a goodly clue. If it be not, forswear't. Howe'er I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, tell me truly.
Good madam, pardon me.
Do you love my son?
Your pardon, noble mistress.
Love you my son?
Do not you love him, madam?
Go not about. My love hath in't a bond, whereof the world takes note. Come, disclose the state of your affection, for your passions have to the full appeached.
Then I confess, here on my knee, before high heaven and you, that before you, and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor but honest, so's my love. Be not offended, for it hurts not him that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him, yet never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain, strive against hope, Yet in this captious and untenable sieve I still pour in the waters of my love, and lack not to lose still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in mine error, I adore the sun that looks upon his worshipper, but knows of him no more. My dearest madam, let not your hate encounter with my love for loving where you do. But if yourself, whose aged honour cites a virtuous youth, did ever in so true a flame of liking wish chastely and love dearly, that your Dian was both herself and love, O then give pity to her, whose state is such that cannot choose, but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find that her search implies, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies.
Had you not lately an intent, speak truly, to go to Paris?
Madam, I had.
Wherefore? Tell true.
I will tell truth, by grace itself I swear. You know my father left me some prescriptions of rare and proved effects, such as his reading and manifest experience had collected for general sovereignty, and that he willed me, in heedfullest reservation to bestow them, as notes whose faculties inclusive were more than they were in note. Amongst the rest, there is a remedy, approved, set down, to cure the desperate languishings whereof the king is rendered lost.
This was your motive for Paris, was it? Speak.
My lord, your son made me to think of this, else Paris and the medicine and the king had from the conversation of my thoughts haply been absent then.
But think you, Helen, if you should tender your supposed aid, he would receive it? He and his physicians are of a mind. He that they cannot help him, they that they cannot help. How shall they credit a poor unlearned virgin, when the schools embowelled of their doctrine have left off the danger to itself?
There's something in't more than my father's skill, which was the greatest of his profession, that his good receipt shall for my legacy be sanctified by the luckiest stars in heaven. And would your honour but give me leave to try success, I'll venture the well-lost life of mine on his grace's cure by such a day and hour.
Dost thou believ't?
Ay, madam, knowingly.
Why, Helen, thou shalt have my leave and love, means and attendance, and my loving greetings to those of mine in court. I'll stay at home and pray God's blessing into thy attempt. Be gone to-morrow, and be sure of this, what I can help thee to, thou shalt not miss. End of All's Well that Ends Well, Act 1, Scene 3. As You Like It, Act 3, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. As You Like It, by William Shakespeare, Act 3, Scene 2.
Celia. Read by CapriciaPage.
Rosalind read by Eden Rea-Hedrick.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh yes, I heard them all, and more too, for some of them had in them more feet than the verses would bear.
That's no matter, the feet may bear the verses.
Ay, but the feet were lame, and could not bear themselves without the verse, and therefore stood lamely in the verse.
But didst thou hear without wondering how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder before you came, for look here what I found on a palm tree. I was never so berhymed since Pythagoras' time, that I was an Irish rat, which I can hardly remember.
Try you who hath done this.
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Change of colour.
I prithee, who?
Oh, Lord, Lord! It is a hard matter for friends to meet, but mountains may be removed with earthquakes, and so encounter.
Nay, but who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, I prithee now, with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful, and after that all out of hooping.
Good my complexion! Dost thou think, though I am caparisoned like a man, I have a doublet and hose in my disposition? 1 inch of delay more is a South Sea of discovery. I prithee, tell me who is it, quickly, and speak apace. I would thou couldst stammer, that thou mightst pour this concealed man out of thy mouth, as wine comes out of a narrow-mouthed bottle, either too much at once, or none at all. I prithee take the cork out of thy mouth, that I may drink thy tidings.
So that you may put a man in your belly.
Is he of God's making? What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat, or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
Why, God will send more, if the man will be thankful. Let me stay the growth of his beard, if thou delay me not the knowledge of his chin.
It is young Orlando, that tripped up the wrestler's heels and your heart both in an instant.
Nay, but the devil take mocking. Speak, sad brow and true maid.
In faith, cause 'tis he.
Orlando?
Orlando.
Alas the day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? What did he when thou saw'st him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes him here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must borrow me Gargantua's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size. To say A or no to these particulars is more than to answer in a catechism.
But doth he know that I am in this forest, and in man's apparel? Looks he as freshly as he did the day he wrestled?
It is as easy to count atomies as to revolve the propositions of a lover. But to take a taste of my finding him, and relish it with good observance. I found him under a tree like a dropped acorn.
It may well be called Jove's tree, when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There he lay, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Though it be pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry Hola to thy tongue, I prithee. It curvets unseasonably. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous! He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know I am a woman? When I think, I must speak. Sweet, say on.
You bring me out. Soft, comes he not here?
'Tis he! Slink by and note him.
End of As You Like It, Act 3, Scene 2. Coriolanus, Act 1, Scene 3. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Coriolanus by William Shakespeare, Act 1, Scene 3.
Volumnia, read by Martin Geeson.
Virgilia, read by Duan.
Valeria, read by CapriciaPage.
Enter Volumnia and Virgilia. They set them down on 2 low stools, and sew.
I pray you, daughter, sing, or express yourself in a more comfortable sort. If my son were my husband, I should freelier rejoice in that absence wherein he won honour, than in the embracements of his bed, where he would show most love. When yet he was but tender-bodied, and the only son of my womb, when youth with comeliness plucked all gaze his way, when for a day of king's entreaties a mother should not sell him an hour from her beholding, I, considering how honour would become such a person, that it was no better than picture-like to hang by the wall, if renown made it not stir, was pleased to let him seek danger where he was like to find fame. To a cruel war I sent him, from whence he returned, his brows bound with oak. I tell thee, daughter, I sprang not more in joy at first hearing he was a man-child, than now in first seeing he had proved himself a man.
But had he died in the business, madam, how then?
Then his good report should have been my son. I therein would have found issue. Hear me profess sincerely, had I a dozen sons, each in my love alike, and none less dear than thine and my good Marcius, I had rather had 11 die nobly for their country, than one voluptuously surfeit out of action.
Enter a gentlewoman. Madam, the Lady Valeria is come to visit you.
Beseech you, give me leave to retire myself.
Indeed you shall not. Methinks I hear hither your husband's drum. See him pluck Aufidius down by the hair, as children from a bear, the Volsces shunning him. Methinks I see him stamp thus, and call thus, Come on, you cowards, you were got in fear, though you were born in Rome. His bloody brow with his mailed hand then wiping, forth he goes, like to a harvest man that's tasked to mow o'er all, or lose his hire.
His bloody brow, O Jupiter, no blood.
Away, you fool! It more becomes a man than guilt his trophy. The breasts of Hecuba, when she did suckle Hector, looked not lovelier than Hector's forehead when it spit forth blood at Grecian sword, contemning. Tell Valeria we are fit to bid her welcome.
Exit Gentlewoman.
Heavens bless my lord from fell Aufidius.
He'll beat Aufidius's head below his knee, and tread upon his neck.
Enter Valeria with an usher and gentlewoman.
My ladies both, good day to you.
Sweet madam.
I am glad to see your ladyship.
How do you both? You are manifest housekeepers. What are you sewing here? A fine spot, in good faith. How does your little son?
I thank your ladyship. Well, good madam.
He had rather see the swords and hear a drum than look upon his schoolmaster.
On my word, the father's son. I'll swear 'tis a very pretty boy. On my troth, I looked upon him on Wednesday, half an hour together. Has such a confirmed countenance, I saw him run after a gilded butterfly. And when he caught it, he let it go again, and after it again. And over he comes, and again catched it again. And whether his fall enraged him, or how 'twas he did so set his teeth and tear it, oh, I warrant it, how he mammocked it.
One on's father's moods.
Indeed, Lord, 'tis a noble child.
A crack, madam.
Come, lay aside your stitchery. I must have you play the idle housewife with me this afternoon.
No good, madam. I will not out of doors.
Not out of doors?
She shall, she shall.
Indeed, no, by your patience. I'll not over the threshold till my lord return from the wars.
Fie, you confine yourself most unreasonably. Come, you must go visit the good lady that lies within.
I will wish her speedy strength, and visit her with my prayers. But I cannot go thither.
Why, I pray you?
'Tis not to save labour, nor that I want love.
You would be another Penelope. Yet they say all the yarn she spun in Ulysses' absence did not fill Ithaca full of moths. Come, I would your cambric were sensible as your finger, that you might leave pricking it for pity. Come, you shall go with us.
No, good madam. Pardon me, indeed, I will not forth.
In truth, La, go with me, and I'll tell you excellent news of your husband.
O good madam, there can be none yet.
Verily, I do not jest with you. There came news from him last night.
Indeed, madam?
In earnest, 'tis true. I heard a senator speak it. Thus it is. The Volsces have an army forth, against whom Cominius the general is gone, with one part of our Roman power. Your lord and Titus Laertius are set down before their city Corioli. They nothing doubt, prevailing to make it brief wars. This is true on mine honour, and so I pray go with me.
Give me excuse, good madam. I will obey you in everything hereafter.
Let her alone, lady. As she is now, she will but disease our better mirth.
In troth, I think she would. Fare you well, then. Come, good sweet lady, prithee, Virgilia, turn thy solemnness out of doors, and go along with us.
No, at a word, madam. Indeed, I must not. I wish you much mirth.
Well, then, farewell.
End of Coriolanus, Act 1, Scene 3. Henry V, Act 3, Scene 4. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Henry V by William Shakespeare. Act 3, Scene 4.
Catherine. Read by Tiffany, Halla, Colonna.
Alice. Read by Elizabeth Klett.
Alice, tu as été en Angleterre et tu parles bien le langage.
Un peu, madame.
Je te prie, m'enseigner. Il faut que j'apprenne à parler. Comment appelez-vous la main en anglais?
La main. Elle est appelée the hand.
The hand. Et les doigts?
Les doigts? Ah, ma foi, j'oublie les doigts. Mais je me souviendrai. Les doigts, je pense qu'ils sont appelés de fingres. Oui, de fingres.
La main, the hand. Les doigts, des fingres. Je pense que je suis le bon écolier. J'ai gagné 2 mots d'anglais vitement. Comment appelez-vous les ongles?
Les ongles, nous les appelons the nails.
The nails. Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. The hand, the fingers et the nails.
C'est bien dit, madame. Il est fort bon anglais.
Dites-moi l'anglais pour le bras.
De arm, madame.
Et le coude?
De elbow.
The elbow. Je m'en fais la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez appris dès à présent.
Il est trop difficile, madame, comme je pense.
Excusez-moi, Alice. Écoutez, the hand, the fingers, the nails, the arm, the bilbo.
De elbow, madame.
Oh, Seigneur Dieu, je m'en oublie. The elbow. Comment appelez-vous le col?
De neck, madame.
De nick. Et le menton?
De chin.
De cin. Le col? De nick. De menton? De cin.
Oui, sauf votre honneur, en vérité, vous prononcez les mots aussi droit que les natifs d'Angleterre.
Je ne doute point d'apprendre, par la grâce de Dieu, et en peu de temps.
N'avez-vous pas déjà oublié ce que je vous ai enseigné?
Non, je réciterai à vous promptement. The hand, the fingers, the miles,
De nails, madame.
the nails, the arm, the elbow.
Sauf votre honneur, de elbow.
Ainsi, dis-je, de elbow, de nick et de cin. Comment appelez-vous le pied et la robe?
De foot, madame, et de coon.
De foot et de coon. Oh, Seigneur Dieu, ce sont mots de sang mauvais, corruptibles, gros et impudiques, et non pour les dames d'honneur d'user. Je ne voudrais prononcer ces mots devant les seigneurs de France pour tout le monde. Faux, le foot et le coon. Néanmoins, je réciterai une autre fois ma leçon ensemble. The hand, the fingers, the nails, the arm, the elbow, the nick, the cin, the foot, the coon.
Excellent, madame.
C'est assez pour une fois. Allons-nous à dîner.
End of Henry V, Act 3, Scene 4. Love's Labour's Lost, Act 5, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Love's Labour's Lost by William Shakespeare. Act 5, Scene 2.
Princess. Read by CapriciaPage.
Rosalind. Read by Amanda Friday.
Catherine. Read by Elizabeth Klett.
Maria. Read by Duan.
Sweethearts. We shall be rich ere we depart, if fairings come thus plentifully in. A lady walled about with diamonds. Look you what I have from the loving king.
Madam, came nothing else along with that?
Nothing but this. Yes, as much love and rhyme as would be crammed up in a sheet of paper, writ o' both sides the leaf, margent and all, that he was fain to seal up on Cupid's name.
That was the way to make his godhead wax, for he hath been 5,000 years a boy.
Ay, and a shrewd unhappy gallows too.
You'll ne'er be friends with him, a killed your sister.
He made her melancholy, sad and heavy, and so she died. Had she been light like you, of such a merry, nimble, stirring spirit, she might have been a grandam ere she died. And so may you, for a light heart lives long.
What's your dark meaning, mouse, of this light word?
A light condition in a beauty dark.
We need more light to find your meaning out.
You'll mar the light by taking it in snuff, therefore I'll darkly end the argument.
Look what you do it still in the dark.
So do not you, for you are a light wench.
Indeed, I weigh not you, and therefore light.
You weigh me not? Oh, that's you care not for me.
Great reason, for past cure is still past care.
Well bandied both, a set of wit well played. But Rosaline, you have a favour too. Who sent it, and what is it?
I would you knew, and if my face were but as fair as yours, my favour were as great. Be witness this. Nay, I have verses too, I thank Byron. The number's true, and, were the numbering two, I were the fairest goddess on the ground. I am compared to 20,000 fairs. Oh, he hath drawn my picture in his letter.
Anything like?
Much in the letters, nothing in the praise.
Beauteous as ink, a good conclusion.
Fair as a text be in a copy-book.
Wear pencils, ho! Let me not die your debtor, my red dominical, my golden letter. Oh, that your face were not so full of O's!
A pox of that jest, and I beshrew all shrows.
But, Catherine, what was sent to you from fair domain?
Madam, this glove.
Did he not send you twain?
Yes, madam, and moreover some 1,000 verses of a faithful lover, a huge translation of hypocrisy, vilely compiled, profound simplicity.
Aha! This and these pearls to me sent Longaville. The letter is too long by half a mile.
I think no less. Dost thou not wish in heart the chain were longer, and the letter short?
Ay, or I would these hands might never part.
We are wise girls, to mock our lovers so.
They are worse fools to purchase mocking so. That same Byron I'll torture ere I go. Oh, that I knew he were but in by the week! How I would make him fawn, and beg, and seek, and wait the season, and observe the times, and spend his prodigal wits in bootless rhymes, and shape his service wholly to my hess, and make him proud to make me proud that jess. So pertent-like would I o'ersway his state, that he should be my fool, and I his fate.
None are so surely caught, when they are catched, as wit turned fool. Folly in wisdom hatched, hath wisdom's warrant and the help of school, and wit's own grace to grace a learned fool.
The blood of youth burns not with such excess as gravity's revolt to wantonness.
Folly in fools bears not so strong a note as foolery in the wise, when wit doth dote, since all the power thereof it doth apply to prove by wit worth in simplicity.
End of Love's Labour's Lost, Act 5, Scene 2. The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare, Act 1, Scene 2. Portia, read by Elizabeth Klett.
Nerissa, read by Duan.
Ah, by my troth, Nerissa, my little body is a-weary of this great world.
You would be, sweet madam, if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are, and yet, for aught I see, they are as sick that surfeit with too much as they that starve with nothing. It is no mean happiness, therefore, to be seated in the mean. Superfluity comes sooner by white hairs, but competency lives longer.
Good sentences, and well pronounced.
They would be better if well followed.
If to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches, and poor men's cottages princes' palaces. It is a good divine that follows his own instructions. I can easier teach 20 what were good to be done, than be one of the 20 to follow mine own teaching. The brain may devise laws for the blood, but a hot temper leaps o'er a cold decree. Such a hare is madness the youth, to skip o'er the meshes of good counsel the cripple. But this reasoning is not in the fashion to choose me a husband. Oh me, the word choose! I may neither choose whom I would, nor refuse whom I dislike. So is the will of a living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father. Is it not hard, Nerissa, that I cannot choose one nor refuse none?
Your father was ever virtuous, and holy men at their death have good inspirations. Therefore the lottery that he hath devised in these 3 chests of gold, silver, and lead, whereof who chooses his meaning chooses you, will, no doubt, never be chosen by any rightly but one who shall rightly love. But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of these princely suitors that are already come?
I pray thee, overname them, and as thou namest them I will describe them, and according to my description level at my affection.
First there is the Neapolitan prince.
Ay, that's a colt indeed, for he doth nothing but talk of his horse, and he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts that he can shoe him himself. I am much afeard my lady his mother played false with a smith.
Then there is the county palatine.
He doth nothing but frown, as who should say, "If you will not have me, choose." He hears merry tales and smiles not. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth. I had rather be married to a death's head with a bone in his mouth than either of these. God defend me from these 2.
How say you by the French lord, Monsieur Le Bon?
God made him, and therefore let him pass for a man. In truth, I know it is a sin to be a mocker, but why, he hath a horse better than the Neapolitans, a better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. He is every man and no man. If a throstle sing, he falls straight a capering. He will fence with his own shadow. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. If he would despise me, I would forgive him, for if he love me to madness, I shall never requite him.
What say you, then, to Falconbridge, the young Baron of England?
You know I say nothing to him, for he understands not me, nor I him. He hath neither Latin, French, nor Italian, and you will come into the court and swear that I have a poor pennyworth in the English. He is a proper man's picture, but alas, who can converse with a dumb show? How oddly he is suited! I think he bought his doublet in Italy, his round hose in France, his bonnet in Germany, and his behaviour everywhere.
What think you of the Scottish lord, his neighbour?
That he hath a neighbourly charity in him, for he hath borrowed a box of the ear of the Englishman, and swore he would pay him again when he was able. I think the Frenchman became his surety, and sealed under for another.
How like you the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew?
Very vilely in the morning when he is sober, and most vilely in the afternoon when he is drunk. When he is best, he is little worse than a man, and when he is worst, he is little better than a beast. And when the worst fall that ever fall, I hope I shall make shift to go without him.
If he should offer to choose, and choose the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will if you should refuse to accept him.
Therefore, for fear of the worst, I pray thee, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. For if the devil be within, and that temptation without, I know he will choose it. I will do anything, Nerissa, ere I be married to a sponge.
You need not fear, lady, the having any of these lords. They have acquainted me with their determinations, which is, indeed, to return to their home, and to trouble you with no more suit, unless you may be won by some other sort than your father's imposition, depending on the caskets.
If I live to be as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Diana, unless I be obtained by the manner of my father's will. I am glad this parcel of wooers are so reasonable, for there is not one among them but I dote on his very absence, and I pray God grant them a fair departure.
Do you not remember, lady, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar, and a soldier, that came hither in company of the Marquis of Montferrat?
Yes, yes, it was Bassanio, as I think he was so called.
True, madam. He, of all the men that ever my foolish eyes looked upon, was the best deserving of fair lady.
I remember him well, and I remember him worthy of thy praise. End of The Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 2. The Merry Wives of Windsor, Act 2, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Merry Wives of Windsor, by William Shakespeare. Act 2, Scene 1.
Mistress Page, read by CapriciaPage.
Mistress Ford, read by Arielle Lipshaw.
Enter Mistress Page with a letter.
What? Have I escaped love letters in the holiday time of my beauty? And am I now a subject for them? Let me see.
Reads.
Ask me no reason why I love you. For though love use reason for his physician, he admits him not for his counsellor. You are not young, no more am I. Go to, then, there's sympathy. You are merry, so am I. Ha ha! Then there's more sympathy. You love sack, and so do I. Would you desire better sympathy? Let it suffice thee, Mistress Page, at least if the love of a soldier can suffice, that I love thee. I will not say pity me, it is not a soldier-like phrase, but I say love me. By me, thine own true knight, by day or night, or any kind of light, with all his might, for thee to fight, John Falstaff. What a Herod of Jewry is this! O wicked world! One that is well nigh worn to pieces with age, to show himself a young gallant. What an unweighted behaviour hath this Flemish drunkard picked, with the devil's name, out of my conversation, that he dares in this manner assay me? Why, he hath not been thrice in my company. What should I say to him? I was then frugal of my mirth. Heaven forgive me. Why, I'll exhibit a bill in the Parliament for the putting down of men. How shall I be revenged on him? For revenged I will be, as sure as his guts are made of puddings.
Enter Mistress Ford.
Mistress Page, trust me I was going to your house.
And trust me I was coming to you. You look very ill.
Nay, I'll ne'er believe that. I have to show to the contrary.
Faith, but you do in my mind.
Well, I do then. Yet I say I could show you to the contrary. Oh, Mistress Page, give me some counsel.
What's the matter, woman?
Oh, woman, if it were not for one trifling respect, I could come to such honour.
Hang the trifle, woman. Take the honour. What is it? Dispense with trifles. What is it?
If I would but go to hell for an eternal moment or so, I could be knighted.
What? Thou liest. Sir Alice Ford, these knights will hack, and so thou shouldst not alter the article of thy gentry.
We burn daylight. Here, read, perceive how I might be knighted. I shall think the worse of fat men, as long as I have an eye to make difference of men's liking. And yet he would not swear, praised women's modesty, and gave such orderly and well-behaved reproof to all uncomeliness, that I would have sworn his disposition would have gone to the truth of his words. But they do no more adhere and keep place together than the 100th psalm to the tune of Greensleeves. What tempest, I trow, threw this whale, with so many tons of oil in his belly, ashore at Windsor? How shall I be revenged on him? I think the best way were to entertain him with hope, till the wicked fire of lust have melted him in his own grease. Did you ever hear the like?
Letter for letter, but that the name of page and forward differs. To thy great comfort in this mystery of ill opinions, here's the twin brother of thy letter. But let thine inherit first, for I protest mine never shall. I warrant he hath 1,000 of these letters, writ with blank space for different names, sure more. And these are of the 2nd edition. He will print them out of doubt, for he cares not what he puts into the press, when he would put us to. I would rather be a giantess and lie under Mount Pelion. Well, I will find you 20 lascivious turtles, ere one chaste man.
Why, this is the very same, the very hand, the very words. What doth he think of us?
Nay, I know not. It makes me almost ready to wrangle with mine own honesty. I'll entertain myself like one I am not acquainted withal. For sure, unless he know some strain in me that I know not myself, he would never have boarded me in this fury.
Boarding, call you it? I'll be sure to keep him above deck.
So I will, if he come under my hatches. I'll never to see again. Let's be revenged on him. Let's appoint him a meeting, give him a show of comfort in his suit, and lead him on in a fine baited delay, till he hath pawned his horse to mine host of the Garter.
Nay, I will consent to act any villainy against him, that may not sully the chariness of our honesty. Oh, that my husband saw this letter! It would give eternal food to his jealousy.
Why, look where he comes, and my good man too. He's as far from jealousy as I am from giving him cause, and that, I hope, is an unmeasurable distance.
You are the happier woman.
Let's consult together against this greasy knight. Come hither.
End of The Merry Wives of Windsor, Act 2, Scene 1. Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Much Ado About Nothing, by William Shakespeare. Act 3, Scene 1.
Hero, read by Amanda Friday.
Ursula, read by Verity Kendall.
Beatrice, read by CaprichaPage.
Margaret, read by Elizabeth Klett. Enter Hero, Margaret, and Ursula.
Good Margaret, run thee to the parlour. There shalt thou find my cousin Beatrice, proposing with the prince and Claudio. Whisper her ear, and tell her, I and Ursula walk in the orchard, and our whole discourse is all of her. Say that thou overheardst us, and bid her steal into the pleached bower, where honeysuckles, ripened by the sun, forbid the sun to enter, like favourites, made proud by princes, that advance their pride against that power that bred it. There will she hide her, to listen our purpose. This is thy office. Bear thee well in it, and leave us alone.
I'll make her come, I warrant you, presently. Exit.
Now, Ursula, when Beatrice doth come, as we do trace this alley up and down, our talk must only be of Benedick. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be how Benedick is sick in love with Beatrice. Of this matter is little Cupid's crafty arrow made, that only wounds by hearsay.
Enter Beatrice, behind.
Now begin. For look where Beatrice, like a lapwing, runs close by the ground to hear our conference.
The pleasantest angling is to see the fish cut with her golden oars the silver stream, and greedily devour the treacherous bait. So angle we for Beatrice, who even now is couched in the woodbine coverture. Fear you not my part of the dialogue.
Then go we near her, that her ear lose nothing of the false sweet bait that we lay for it.
Approaching the bower.
No, truly, Ursula, she is too disdainful. I know her spirits are as coy and wild as haggards of the rock.
But are you sure that Benedick loves Beatrice so entirely?
So says the prince, and my new-trothed lord.
And did they bid you tell her of it, madam?
They did entreat me to acquaint her of it, but I persuaded them, if they loved Benedick, to wish him wrestle with affection, and never to let Beatrice know of it.
Why did you so? Doth not the gentleman deserve as full as fortune a bed as ever Beatrice shall couch upon?
O God of love! I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man. But nature never framed a woman's heart of prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride sparkling in her eyes, misprizing what they look on, and her wit values itself so highly that to her all matter else seems weak. She cannot love, nor take no shape nor project of affection, she is so self-endeared.
Sure, I think so, and therefore certainly it were no good she knew his love, lest she make sport at it.
Why, you speak truth. I never yet saw a man, how wise, how noble, young, how rarely featured, but she would spell him backward. If fair-faced, she would swear the gentleman should be her sister. If black, why nature, drawing of an antique, made a foul blot. If tall, a lance ill-headed. If low, an agate very vilely cut. If speaking, why, a vane blown with all winds. If silent, why, a block moved with none. So turns she every man the wrong side out, and never gives to truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchaseth.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, not to be so odd and from all fashions as Beatrice is, cannot be commendable. But who dare tell her so? If I should speak, she would mock me into air. Oh, she would laugh me out of myself, press me to death with wit. Therefore let Benedick, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly. It were a better death than die with mocks, which is as bad as die with tickling.
Yet tell her of it, hear what she will say.
No, rather I will go to Benedick, and counsel him to fight against his passion. And truly, I'll devise some honest slanders to stain my cousin with. One doth not know how much an ill word may empoison liking.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong. She cannot be so much without true judgment, having so swift and excellent a wit as she is prized to have, as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedick.
He is the only man of Italy, always excepted my dear Claudio.
I pray you, be not angry with me, madam. Speaking my fancy, Signor Benedick, for shape, forbearing, argument, and valour, goes foremost in report through Italy.
Indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
His excellence did earn it ere he had it. When are you married, madam?
Why, every day, to-morrow. Come, go in, I'll show thee some attires, and have thy counsel, which is the best to furnish me to-morrow.
She is limed, I warrant you. We have caught her, madam.
If it prove so, then loving goes by haps. Some Cupid kills with arrows, some with traps.
Exeunt Hero and Ursula. Beatrice coming forward.
What fire is in mine ears? Can this be true? Stand I condemned for pride and scorn so much? Contempt, farewell, and maiden pride, adieu. No glory lives behind the back of such. And Benedick, love on. I will requite thee, taming my wild heart to thy loving hand. If thou dost love, my kindness shall incite thee to bind our loves up in a holy band. For others say thou dost deserve, and I believe it better than reporting thee.
End of Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 1. Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 4. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Much Ado About Nothing, by William Shakespeare. Act 3, Scene 4.
Ursula, read by April Gonzales.
Margaret, read by Elizabeth Klett.
Hero, read by Grace Garrett.
Beatrice, read by CaprichaPage.
Good Ursula, wake my cousin Beatrice, and desire her to rise.
I will, lady.
And bid her come hither.
Well?
Exit. Troth, I think your other rabato were better.
No, pray thee, good Meg, I'll wear this.
By my troth's not so good, and I warrant your cousin will say so.
My cousin's a fool, and thou art another. I'll wear none but this.
I like the new tire within excellently, if the hair were a thought browner, and your gown's a most rare fashion, of faith. I saw the Duchess of Milan's gown that they praise so.
Oh, that exceeds, they say.
By my troth, 's but a nightgown in respect of yours, cloth o' gold, and cuts, and laced with silver, set with pearls, down sleeves, side sleeves, and skirts, round underborne with a bluish tinsel. But for a fine, quaint, graceful, and excellent fashion, yours is worth 10 on't.
God give me joy to wear it, for my heart is exceedingly heavy.
'Twill be heavier soon by the weight of a man.
Fie upon thee! Art thou not ashamed?
Of what, lady? Of speaking honourably? Is not marriage honourable in a beggar? Is not your lord honourable without marriage? I think you would have me say, saving your reverence, a husband. And bad thinking do not rest true speaking, I'll offend nobody. Is there any harm in the heavier for a husband? None, I think, and it be the right husband and the right wife, otherwise 'tis light and not heavy. Ask my Lady Beatrice else. Here she comes.
Good morrow, coz.
Good morrow, sweet hero.
Why, how now? Do you speak in sick tune?
I am out of all other tune, methinks.
Claps into light o' love, and that goes without a burden. Do you sing it, and I'll dance it.
Ye light of love with your heels. Then if your husband have stables enough, you'll see he shall lack no barns.
Oh, illegitimate construction! I scorn that with my heels.
'Tis almost 5 o'clock, cousin. 'Tis time you were ready. By my troth, I am exceedingly ill. Hey ho!
For a hawk, a horse, or a husband?
For the letter that begins them all. H.
Well, and you be not turned Turk, there's no more sailing by the star.
What means the fool trow?
Nothing I, but God send every one their heart's desire.
These gloves the Count sent me, they are an excellent perfume.
I am stuffed, cousin. I cannot smell.
A maid and stuffed! There's goodly catching of cold.
Oh, God help me! God help me! How long have you professed apprehension?
Ever since you left it. Doth not my wit become me rarely?
It is not seen enough. You shall wear it in your cap. By my troth, I am sick.
Get you some of this distilled Carduus Benedictus, and lay it to your heart. It is the only thing for a qualm.
There thou prickest her with a thistle.
Benedictus! Why Benedictus? You have some moral in this Benedictus.
Moral? No, by my troth, I have no moral meaning. I meant plain holy thistle. You may think, perchance, that I think you are in love. Nay, by'r lady, I am not such a fool to think what I list, nor I list not to think what I can, nor indeed I cannot think, if I would think my heart out of thinking, that you are in love, or that you will be in love, or that you can be in love. Yet Benedick was such another, and now is he become a man. He swore he would never marry, and yet now, in spite of his heart, he eats his meat without grudging. And how you may be converted I know not, but methinks you look with your eyes as other women do.
What pace is this that thy tongue keeps?
Not a false gallop. Re-enter Ursula.
Madame, withdraw. To Prince, to Count, Signior Benedick, Don John, and all the gallants of the town are come to fetch you to church.
Help to dress me, good coz, good Meg, good Ursula.
End of Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 4. Othello, Act 4, Scene 3. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Othello, by William Shakespeare, Act 4, Scene 3.
Emilia, read by Arielle Lipshaw.
Desdemona, read by Elizabeth Klett.
How goes it now? He looks gentler than he did.
He says he will return incontinent. He hath commanded me to go to bed, and bade me to dismiss you.
Dismiss me?
It was his bidding. Therefore, good Emilia, give me my nightly wearing and adieu. We must not now displease him.
I would you had never seen him.
So would not I. My love doth so approve him, that even his stubbornness, his checks, his frowns, prithee unpin me, have grace and favour in them.
I have laid those sheets you bade me on the bed.
All's one. Good faith, how foolish are our minds! If I do die before thee, prithee shroud me in one of those same sheets.
Come, come, you talk.
My mother had a maid called Barbara. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad and did forsake her. She had a song of willow. An old thing 'twas, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song to-night will not go from my mind. I have much to do but to go hang my head all at one side and sing it like poor Barbara. Prithee dispatch.
Shall I go fetch your nightgown?
No, unpin me here. This Lodovico is a proper man.
A very handsome man.
He speaks well.
I know a lady in Venice would have walked barefoot to Palestine for a touch of his nether lip.
The poor soul sat sighing by a sycamore tree. Sing all a green willow, her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee. Sing willow, willow, willow. The fresh streams ran by her and murmured her moans. Sing willow, willow, willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Lay by these. Sing willow, willow, willow. Prithee hie thee, he'll come anon. Sing all a green willow must be my garland. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. Nay, that's not next. Hark! Who is't who knocks?
It's the wind.
I called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow. If I court more women, you'll couch with more men. So get thee gone. Good night. Mine eyes do itch. Doth that bode weeping?
'Tis neither here nor there.
I have heard it said so. Oh, these men, these men! Dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Emilia, that there be women do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
There be some such, no question.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
Why, would not you?
No, by this heavenly light.
Nor I neither by this heavenly light. I might do it as well in the dark.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
The world's a huge thing. It is a great price for a small vice.
In troth, I think thou wouldst not.
In troth, I think I should, and undo it when I had done. Marry, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, petticoats, nor caps, nor any petty exhibition. But for the whole world, why, who would not make her husband a cuckold to make him a monarch? I should venture purgatory for it.
Beshrew me if I would do such a wrong for the whole world.
Why, the wrong is but a wrong i' the world, and having the world for your labour, 'tis a wrong in your own world, and you might quickly make it right.
I do not think there is any such woman.
Yes, a dozen, and as many to the vantage as would store the world they played for. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties and pour our treasures into foreign laps, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us. Or say they strike us, or scant our former having in despite. Why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell and have their palates both for sweet and sour, as husbands have. What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. Is't frailty that thus errs? It is so too. And have not we affections, desires for sport and frailty, as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
Good night. Good night. Heaven me such uses send, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend. End of Othello, Act 4, Scene 3. Richard III, Act 4, Scene 4. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Richard III, by William Shakespeare, Act 4, Scene 4. Queen Margaret, read by Elizabeth Klett.
Queen Elizabeth, read by Arielle Lipshaw.
Duchess of York, read by CapriciaPage.
So, now prosperity begins to mellow and drop into the rotten mouth of death. Here in these confines slyly have I lurked, to watch the waning of mine adversaries. A dire induction am I witness to, and will to France, hoping the consequence will prove as bitter, black, and tragical. Withdraw thee, wretched Margaret. Who comes here? Enter Queen Elizabeth and the Duchess of York.
Ah, my young princes! Ah, my tender babes! My unblown flowers, new-appearing sweets! If yet your gentle souls fly in the air and be not fixed in doom perpetual, hover about me with your airy wings and hear your mother's lamentation.
Hover about her. Say that right for right hath dimmed your infant morn to aged night.
So many miseries have crazed my voice, that my woe-wearied tongue is mute and dumb. Edward Plantagenet, why art thou dead?
Plantagenet doth quit Plantagenet. Edward for Edward pays a dying debt.
Wilt thou, O God, fly from such gentle lambs and throw them in the entrails of the wolf? When didst thou sleep when such a deed was done?
When holy Harry died, and my sweet son.
Blind sight, dead life, poor mortal living ghost. Woes seen, world's shame, graves due by life usurped. Brief abstract and record of tedious days, rest thy unrest on England's lawful earth, unlawfully made drunk with innocent's blood.
Sitting down.
Oh, that thou wouldst as well afford a grave as thou canst yield a melancholy seat. Then would I hide my bones, not rest them here. Oh, who hath any cause to mourn but I?
Sitting down by her. If ancient sorrow be most reverend, give mine the benefit of signory, and let my woes frown on the upper hand. Sitting down with them. If sorrow can admit society, tell o'er your woes again by viewing mine. I had an Edward till a Richard killed him. I had a Harry till a Richard killed him. Thou hadst an Edward till a Richard killed him. Thou hadst a Richard till a Richard killed him.
I had a Richard too, and thou didst kill him. I had a Rutland too, thou hopst to kill him.
Thou hadst a Clarence too, and Richard killed him. From forth the kennel of thy womb hath crept a hell-hound that doth hunt us all to death. That dog that had his teeth before his eyes to worry lambs and lap their gentle blood, that foul defacer of God's handiwork, that excellent grand tyrant of the earth that reigns in galled eyes of weeping souls, thy womb let loose to chase us to our graves. O upright, just, and true disposing God, how do I thank thee that this carnal cur preys on the issue of his mother's body, and makes her pew-fellow with others' moan.
O Harry's wife, triumph not in my woes. God witness with me, I have wept for thine.
Bear with me. I am hungry for revenge, and now I cloy me with beholding it. Thy Edward, he is dead that stabbed my Edward. Thy other Edward dead to quit my Edward. Young York he is but boot, because both they match not the high perfection of my loss. Thy Clarence he is dead that killed my Edward, and the beholders of this tragic play, the adulterate Hastings, Rivers, Vaughan, Grey, untimely smothered in their dusky graves. Richard yet lives, hell's black intelligencer, only reserved their factor to buy souls and send them thither. But at hand ensues his piteous and unpitied end. Earth gapes, hell burns, fiends roar, saints pray to have him suddenly conveyed away. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray, that I may live to say the dog is dead.
O thou didst prophesy the time would come, that I should wish for thee to help me curse that bottled spider, that foul bunch-backed toad.
I called thee then vain flourish of my fortune. I called thee then poor shadow, painted queen, the presentation of but what I was, the flattering index of a direful pageant, one heaved a high to be hurled down below, a mother only mocked with two sweet babes, a dream of what thou wert, a breath, a bubble, a sign of dignity, a garish flag to be the aim of every dangerous shot, a queen in jest, only to fill the scene. Where is thy husband now? Where be thy brothers? Where are thy children? Wherein dost thou joy? Who sues to thee and cries, God save the Queen? Where be the bending peers that flattered thee? Where be the thronging troops that followed thee? Decline all this, and see what now thou art. For happy wife, a most distressed widow, for joyful mother, one that wails the name, for queen, a very caitiff crowned with care, for one being sued to, one that humbly sues, for one that being scorned at me, now scorned of me, for one being feared of all, now fearing one, for one commanding all, obeyed of none. Thus hath the course of justice wheeled about, and left thee but a very prey to time, having no more but thought of what thou wert, to torture thee the more, being what thou art. Thou didst usurp my place, and dost thou not usurp the just proportion of my sorrow? Now thy proud neck bears half my burdened yoke, from which even here I slip my weary neck, and leave the burden of it all on thee. Farewell, York's wife, and queen of sad mischance. These English woes will make me smile in France.
O thou well skilled in curses, stay a while and teach me how to curse mine enemies.
Forbear to sleep the nights and fast the days. Compare dead happiness with living woe. Think that thy babes were fairer than they were, and he that slew them fouler than he is. Bettering thy loss makes the bad causer worse. Revolving this will teach thee how to curse.
My words are dull. O quicken them with thine.
Thy woes will make them sharp, and pierce like mine. Exit.
Why should calamity be full of words?
Windy attorneys to their client woes, airy succeeders of intestate joys, poor breathing orators of miseries. Let them have scope, though what they do impart help not all, yet do they ease the heart.
If so, then be not tongue-tied. Go with me, and in the breath of bitter words let smother my damned son, which thy too sweet son smothered. I hear his drums. Be copious in exclaims.
End of Richard III, Act 4, Scene 4. Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 3. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, Act 1, Scene 3.
Lady Capulet, read by Duan.
Nurse, read by Arielle Lipshaw.
Juliet, read by Eden Rea-Hedrick.
Nurse, where's my daughter? Call her forth to me.
Now, by my maidenhead at 12-year-old I bade her come. What lamb? What ladybird? God forbid, where's this girl? What, Juliet?
Enter Juliet.
How now? Who calls?
Your mother.
Madam, I am here. What is your will?
This is the matter. Nurse, give leave a while. We must talk in secret. Nurse, come back again. I have remembered me. Thou's hear our counsel. Thou knowest my daughter's of a pretty age.
Faith, I can tell her age unto an hour.
She's not 14.
I'll lay 14 of my teeth, and yet, to my teeth be it spoken, I have but 4. She is not 14. How long is it now to Lammastide?
A fortnight and odd days.
Even or odd, of all days in the year, come Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God, she was too good for me. But as I said, on Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. That shall she, Mary, I remember it well. 'Tis since the earthquake now 11 years, and she was weaned, I never shall forget it, of all the days in the year upon that day. For I had then laid wormwood to my dug, sitting in the sun under the dove-house wall. My lord and you were then at Mantua. Nay, I do bear a brain, but as I said, when it did taste the wormwood on the nipple of my dug, and felt it bitter, pretty fool, to see it tatchy and fall out with the dug, "Shake," quoth the dove-house. 'Twas no need, I trow, to bid me trudge. And since that time it is 11 years. For then she could stand alone. Nay, by the rood, she could have run and waddled all about. For even the day before she broke her brow. And then my husband, God be with his soul, was a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit, wilt thou not, Jule? And by my holiday, the pretty wretch left crying and said, I... To see now how a jest shall come about. I warrant, and I should live 1,000 years, I never should forget it. Wilt thou not, Jule, quoth he, and pretty fool, it stinted and said, I...
Enough of this, I pray thee. Hold thy peace.
Yes, madam. Yet I cannot choose but laugh, to think it should leave crying and say I. And yet I warrant it had upon its brow a bump as big as a young cockerel's stone, a parlous knock, and it cried bitterly. Yea, quoth my husband, fall'st upon thy face, thou wilt fall backward when thou comest to age, wilt thou not, Jule? It stinted and said, I.
And stint thou too, I pray thee, nurse, say I.
Peace, I have done. God mark thee to his grace. Thou wast the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed, and I might live to see thee married once, I have my wish.
Marry that Mary is the very theme I came to talk of. Tell me, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?
It is an honour that I dream not of.
An honour? Were I not thine only nurse, I would say thou hadst sucked wisdom from thy teat.
Well, think of marriage now. Younger than you, here in Verona, ladies of esteem are made already mothers. By my count, I was your mother much upon these years that you are now a maid. Thus then, in brief, the valiant Paris seeks you for his love.
A man, young lady, such a man as all the world. Why, he's a man of wax.
Verona's summer hath not such a flower.
Nay, he's a flower, in faith, a very flower.
What say you? Can you love the gentleman? This night you shall behold him at our feast. Read o'er the volume of young Paris' face, and find delight writ there with beauty's pen. Examine every married lineament, and see how one another lends content, and what obscured in this fair volume lies, find written in the margent of his eyes. This precious book of love, this unbound lover, to beautify him, only lacks a cover. The fish lives in the sea, and 'tis much pride, for fair without the fair within to hide. That book in many's eyes doth share the glory, that in gold clasps locks in the golden story. So shall you share all that he doth possess, by having him, making yourself no less.
No less, nay bigger. Women grow by men.
Speak briefly. Can you like of Paris' love?
I'll look to like, if looking liking move, but no more deep will I dart mine eye than your consent gives strength to make it fly.
Enter a servant. Madam, the guests are come, supper served up, you called, my young lady asked for, the nurse cursed in the pantry, and everything in extremity. I must hence to wait. I beseech you, follow straight.
We follow thee.
Exit servant.
Juliet, the county stays.
Go, girl, seek happy nights to happy days.
End of Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 3. Romeo and Juliet, Act 3, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, Act 3, Scene 2.
Juliet, read by Amanda Friday.
Nurse, read by Verity Kendall.
Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, towards Phoebus' lodging. Such a wagoner as Phaethon would whip you to the west, and bring in cloudy night immediately. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaway's eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or, if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil night, thou sober-suited matron, all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood, bating in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love, grown bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, night, come, Romeo, come, thou day in night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night, come, loving black-browed night, give me my Romeo, and when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night, and pay no worship to the garish sun. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed. So tedious is this day, as is the night before some festival, to an impatient child that hath new robes, and may not wear them. Oh, here comes my nurse, and she brings news, and every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence.
Enter Nurse, with cords.
Now, nurse, what news? What hast thou there? The cords that Romeo bid thee fetch?
Ay, the cords.
Throws them down.
Ay me! What news? Why dost thou wring thy hands?
Ah, well a day! He's dead, he's dead, he's dead! We are undone, lady, we are undone. Alack the day! He's gone, he's killed, he's dead!
Can heaven be so envious?
Romeo can, though heaven cannot. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, whoever would have thought it, Romeo!
What devil art thou, that dost torment me thus? This torture should be roared in dismal hell. Hath Romeo slain himself? Say thou but I, and that bare vowel I shall poison more than the death-darting eye of cockatrice. I am not I, if there be such an eye, or those eyes shut, that make thee answer, I. If he be slain, say I, or if not, no. Brief sounds determine of my weal or woe.
I saw the wound, I saw it with mine eyes. God save the mark! Here on his manly breast, a piteous course, a bloody piteous course, pale, pale as ashes, all bedaubed in blood, all in gore blood. I swounded at the sight.
Oh, break, my heart, poor bankrupt, break at once. To prison, eyes, ne'er look on liberty. Vile earth, to earth resign, end motion here. And thou and Romeo press one heavy bier.
O Tybalt, Tybalt, the best friend I had, O courteous Tybalt, honest gentleman, that ever I should live to see thee dead.
What storm is this that blows so contrary? Is Romeo slaughtered, and is Tybalt dead? My dear loved cousin, and my dearer lord? Then, dreadful trumpet, sound the general doom, for who is living, if those two are gone?
Tybalt is gone, and Romeo banished. Romeo that killed him, he is banished.
O God! Did Romeo's hand shed Tybalt's blood?
It did, alas the day, it did.
O serpent heart, hid with a flowering face, did ever dragon keep so fair a cave? Beautiful tyrant, fiend angelical, dove-feathered raven, wolfish ravening lamb, despised substance of divinest show, just opposite to what thou justly seem'st, a damned saint, an honorable villain. O nature, what hast thou to do in hell, when thou didst bower the spirit of a fiend in moral paradise of such sweet flesh? Was ever book containing such vile matter so fairly bound? O that deceit should dwell in such a gorgeous palace!
There's no trust, no faith, no honesty in men, all perjured, all forsworn, all naught, all dissemblers. Ah, where's my man? Give me some aqua vitae. These griefs, these woes, these sorrows make me old. Shame come to Romeo.
Blistered be thy tongue for such a wish. He was not born to shame. Upon his brow shame is ashamed to sit. For 'tis a throne where honor may be crowned, sole monarch of the universal earth. Oh, what a beast was I to chide at him!
Will you speak well of him that killed your cousin?
Shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Ah, poor my lord! What tongue shall smooth thy name, when I, thy 3 hours' wife, have mangled it? But wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my cousin? That villain cousin would have killed my husband. Back, foolish tears, back to your native spring. Your tributary drops belong to woe, which you, mistaking, offer up to joy. My husband lives, that Tybalt would have slain, and Tybalt's dead, that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Wherefore weep I then? Some word there was, worser than Tybalt's death, that murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses to my memory, like damned guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead, and Romeo banished. That one word, banished, hath slain 10,000 Tybalts. Tybalt's death was woe enough, if it had ended there. Or, if sour woe delights in fellowship, and needly will be ranked with other griefs. Why followed not, when she said, Tybalt's dead? Thy father, or thy mother, nay, or both, which modern lamentations might have moved. But with a rearward following Tybalt's death, Romeo is banished. To speak that word is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound, in that word's death. No words can that woe sound. Where is my father and my mother, nurse?
Weeping and wailing over Tybalt's corse. Will you go to them? I will bring you thither.
Wash they his wounds with tears. Mine shall be spent when theirs are dry, for Romeo's banishment. Take up those cords. Poor ropes, you are beguiled, both you and I. For Romeo is exiled. He made you for a highway to my bed. But I, a maid, die, maiden widowed. Come, cords, come, nurse. I'll to my wedding bed, and death, not Romeo, take my maiden head.
Hie to your chamber. I'll find Romeo to comfort you. I wot well where he is. Hark ye, your Romeo will be here at night. I'll to him. He is hid at Lawrence' cell.
Oh, find him. Give this ring to my true knight, and bid him come to take his last farewell.
End of Romeo and Juliet, Act 3, Scene 2. Twelfth Night, Act 3, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Twelfth Night, by William Shakespeare, Act 3, Scene 1.
Olivia, read by Amanda Friday.
Viola, read by Eden Rea-Hedrick.
Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him, I think not on him. For his thoughts, would they were blanks, rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to wet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you, I bade you never speak again of him. But, would you undertake another suit? I had rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady!
Give me leave, beseech you. I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and, I fear me, you. Under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you, in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Have you not set mine honour at the stake, and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts that tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hideth my heart. So, let me hear you speak.
I pity you.
That's a degree to love.
No, not a grise, for 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Why then, methinks 'tis time to smile again. O world, how apt the poor are to be proud! If one should be a prey, how much the better to fall before the lion than the wolf.
Clock strikes.
The clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth, I will not have you. And yet, when wit and youth is come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way, due west.
Then westward ho! Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me?
Stay, I prithee tell me what thou thinkest of me.
That you do think you are not what you are.
If I think so, I think the same of you.
Then think you right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of his lip! A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidhood, honour, truth, and everything, I love thee so, that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus, with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought, better.
By innocence I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth, and that no woman has, nor ever none shall be mistress of it, save I alone. And so adieu, good madam, never more will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayest move that heart, which now abhors, to like his love.
End of Twelfth Night, Act 3, Scene 1. The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 1, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Two Gentlemen of Verona, by William Shakespeare, Act 1, Scene 2.
Julia, read by Tiffany, Halla, Colonna.
Lisita, read by April Gonzales.
But say, Lucetta, now we are alone, wouldst thou then counsel me to fall in love?
Ay, madam, so you stumble not unheedfully.
Of all the fair resort of gentlemen, that every day with parley encounter me, in thy opinion which is worthiest love?
Please you repeat the names, I'll show my mind, according to my shallow simple skill.
What thinkest thou of the fair Sir Eglamour?
As if a knight was spoken, neat and fine, but were I you, he never should be mine.
What thinkest thou of the rich Mercatio?
Well of his wealth, but of himself so.
What thinkest thou of the gentle Proteus?
Lord, to see what folly reigns in us.
How now? What means this passion at his name?
Pardon, dear madam, 'tis a passing shame that I, unworthy body as I am, should censure thus on a lovely gentleman.
Why not on Proteus, as of all the rest?
Then thus, of many good I think him best.
Your reason?
I have no other, but a woman's reason. I think him so because I think him so.
And wouldst thou have me cast my love on him?
Ay, if you thought your love not cast away.
Why, he, of all the rest, hath never moved me.
Yet he, of all the rest, I think, best loves ye.
His little speaking shows his love but small.
Fire that's closest kept burns most of all.
They do not love that do not show their love.
Oh, to love least that let men know their love.
I would I knew his mind.
Peruse this paper, madam.
To Julia. Say, from whom?
For the contents will show.
Say, who gave it thee?
Valentine's page, and sent, I think, from Proteus. He would have given it you. But I, being in the way, did in your name receive it. Pardon the fault, I pray.
Now, by my modesty, a goodly broker, dare you presume to harbour wanton lines, to whisper and conspire against my youth? Now, trust me, 'tis an office of great worth, and you an officer fit for the place, or else return no more into my sight.
To plead for love deserves more fee than hate.
Will ye be gone?
That you may ruminate.
Exit.
And yet I would I had o'erlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again, and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. What a fool she is, that knows I am a maid, and would not force the letter to my view, since maids in modesty say no to that which they would have the profferer construe aye. Fie, how wayward is this foolish love that, like a testy babe, will scratch the nurse, and presently all humbled kiss the rod. How churlishly I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. How angerly I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back, and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta!
Re-enter Lucetta.
What with your ladyship?
Is't near dinner time?
I would it were, that you might kill a stomach on your meat, and not upon your maid.
What is't that you took up so gingerly?
Nothing.
Why didst thou stoop then?
To take a paper up that I let fall.
And is that paper nothing?
Nothing concerning me.
Then let it lie for those that it concerns.
Madam, it will not lie where it concerns, unless it have a false interpreter.
Some love of yours hath writ to you in rhyme.
that I might sing it, madam, to a tune. Give me a note your ladyship can set.
As little by such toys as may be possible. Best sing it to the tune of Lighter Love.
It is too heavy for so light a tune.
Heavy? Belike it hath some burden then.
Ay, and melodious were it, would you sing it?
And why not you?
I cannot reach so high.
Let's see your song. How now, minion?
Keep tune there still, so you will sing it out. And yet methinks I do not like this tune.
You do not?
No, madam, it is too sharp.
You, minion, are too saucy.
Nay, now you are too flat. And mother conquered with too harsh a descant. They wanted but to mean to fill your song.
The mean is drowned with your unruly bass.
Indeed, a bitter bass for Proteus.
This babble shall not henceforth trouble me. Here is a coil with protestation.
Tears the letter.
Go, get you gone, and let the papers lie. You would be fingering them to anger me.
She makes it strange, but she would be best pleased. She'd be so angered with another letter.
Exit.
Nay, would I were so angered with the same. O hateful hands, to tear such loving words, injurious wasps, to feed on such sweet honey, and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Look, here it is writ, kind Julia. Unkind Julia, as in revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And here is writ, love-wounded Proteus. Poor wounded name, my bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed. And thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word away till I have found each letter in the letter, except mine own name, that some whirlwind bear unto a ragged, fearful hanging rock, and throw it hence into the raging sea. Lo, here in one line is his name twice writ. Poor forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, to the sweet Julia. That I'll tear away, and yet I will not, sith so prettily he couples it to his complaining names. Thus will I fold them one on another. Now, kiss, embrace, contend, do what you will.
Re-enter Lucetta.
Madam, dinner is ready, and your father stays.
Well, let us go.
What shall these papers lie like telltale's hair?
If you respect them, best to take them up.
Nay, I was taken up for laying them down. Yet here they shall not lie, for catching cold.
I see you have a month's mind to them.
Ay, madam, you may say what sights you see. I see things too, although you judge I wink.
Come, come, will it please you go?
End of The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 1, Scene 2.